Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Remember last year as we were coming into the Democrat and the Republican committees and we learned that the DNC had been hacked, and it was the Russians who did it, right? Debbie Wasserman Schultz resigned because it was shown that she was hacking the election against Bernie Sanders. She was replaced by Donna Brazile, and the emails showed that Donna Brazile had been feeding questions to Hillary Clinton. Now they've got a race going on for the replacement, and we've got Tom Perez. Now, Tom Perez is being offered up by the DNC because they see him as less radical than the Muslim Congressman Keith Ellison. So they're trying to put him in, and this is what he had to say. And I want you to remember this because we're going to talk about the massive pwning of the Democrat intelligence members on the House, as well as people who've been on foreign affairs, Benghazi committees. We've now had a major expose, not of Russians, but of Muslim brotherhoods. Not the Muslim Brotherhood, but Muslim brothers that have now been fired, and there may be a criminal investigation on Capitol Hill. So in light of all this, in light of all the protests that we've seen in the last couple of weeks saying you can't do and should not do extreme vetting of the people who are coming in from these other countries, I want you to listen to what Tom Perez said as part of his campaign to become the successor to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, to Donna Brazile. He said, refugees are vetted far more diligently than the nominees of Donald Trump for his cabinet. That's for sure, he said. The extreme vetting should be for the people in his cabinet, because he would learn he has more billionaires than people of color in his cabinet. There you go. It's back to identity politics. And presumably, that was how all these Democrat congressmen got burned, because, you know, a Muslim just couldn't do anything that would, they couldn't be stealing equipment, they couldn't be stealing secrets, they couldn't be breaking into staff committee computers, but they did. We learned first from Politico, just a couple of days, interestingly enough, because this puts it in context, to think about how close this was to this raid that happened in Yemen with the death of the Navy SEAL. You understand, you're playing for keeps here. People live and die based on secrecy. And so just a day or two after that had happened, we learned first from Politico that some House staffers were under criminal investigation for alleged equipment theft. They said 5 House employees are under criminal investigation amid allegations that they stole equipment from more than 20 member of Congress offices and accessed House IT systems without knowledge of the lawmakers, because these lawmakers are Democrats. They don't know, they don't care about security issues. This is what we see over and over again. So 5 employees, 4 men, they said, and a woman. That was what the source at the Sergeant at Arms confirmed to Politico. They say the U.S. Capitol Police were conducting an active criminal investigation, but said no arrests had been made. And as of that time, the FBI was not involved. The next day, we got more information from the Daily Caller. The Daily Caller started naming names. At that point, we learned that the brothers who were arrested were brothers Abid, Imran, and Jamal Awan. Okay, now there's that, I don't know who the 4th man is, but we also learned in this report who the woman involved is. They say 3 members of the intelligence panel and 5 members of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs were among the dozens of members who employed these suspects on a shared basis. And guess who the very first name named is? Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the one who was screaming about the Russians hacked me, the Russians hacked me. Now she's been hacked by the people she hired to run IT, these Muslim brothers. The brothers are suspected of serious violations, including accessing members' computer networks. So they got into the Congress's computer networks without their knowledge and stealing equipment from Congress. Let's look at who some of these people are, because besides Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who has talked a great deal about why we should not be vetting any Muslims coming into this country. That's racist, of course. So presumably they didn't vet these IT employees, because that would be racist if they were actually to look into their backgrounds. I'm going to show you there were some very suspicious things in their background. But of course, we've also had Joaquin Castro, one of the Castro brothers from here in Texas. He is a Democrat congressman. He's on both the Intelligence and the Foreign Affairs Committee. And listen to what Joaquin Castro of San Antonio said about President Trump's ban, he said, on Muslim refugees. He said it betrays America's values and it undermines national security. Well, Congressman Castro, do you think that it undermines national security? to have people who are hacking into your own computers, who are stealing equipment, and you're absolutely clueless about it? They say signs of trouble have been visible. This is Daily Caller again. Signs have been visible in the public records. They say the Congressional Credit Union repossessed Abib's car in 2009. He declared bankruptcy in 2012, and he's facing multiple lawsuits. So when you see this type of thing, you understand this person's got money problems, right? He might be inclined to steal secrets, not just computer equipment. He might be inclined to steal secrets, and he has the ability to do that as a member of the IT staff. They did access their computers, and then he could sell that for cash. They go on to say, security-sensitive jobs typically require background checks for credit and legal problems that can create pressures to cash in on access to secret information and documents. Now, of course, they're all living at an address of Hina R. Alvi. She's a female house IT employee, and they're all living together. These three brothers and this woman are all living in the same house, and she has done recent refinancing of her house multiple times. They say Jamal, whose public records suggest that he is only 22 years old, he first began working at the house when he was 20 and was paid nearly $160,000 a year, 3 times the average house IT staff salary. Think about that. This is a 20-year-old. What does this guy know that makes him so valuable that he is getting 3 times the salary of the average house IT staff? Does he have connections there? It absolutely makes no sense. And of course, we had Silicon Valley entrepreneurs pushing back against Donald Trump this last couple of days, saying we need to have our H-1B visas so we can bring in people from Yemen, where the raid occurred, so we can bring in people from Somalia, from Syria, and other places. I said, there's not any IT talent that we must have from those areas. You can get people that are just as good, that went to school in America, that are native born. You don't need to bring in IT talent from these third world countries that we are at war with. And so it's very suspicious also the fact that not only are they making that much money, and of course we understand the privilege that goes on in Washington, but the fact that they would make that much money, all these brothers are making $160,000, $165,000, and yet they're declaring bankruptcy. And so then that brings us to this failed raid that happened. We're told now that in this Yemen raid where the Navy SEAL died, women al-Qaeda fighters surprised U.S. forces. They say that new details emerged, this is as February 1st, surrounding the deadly joint U.S. United Arab Emirate counterterrorism raid. They say this was something, of course, that was planned by Obama. They left this for Donald Trump. They needed, they said, a moonless night, so they waited until they got the right kind of moonless night to do this raid. But when you look at the fact that this was planned in the Obama administration, that they delayed this, it brings up a lot of questions. Was this an internal leak inside the country? Was this something that the intelligence services did in order to embarrass a Trump administration with a failure? You can even ask, was this a response when we see these people busted in the House IT staff? This happened just a day or so after that. Was that a coincidence, or was it the result of information that they captured there? They say, and this is from the Pentagon, the raid resulted in the seizure of materials and information that is yielding valuable intelligence to help partners deter and prevent future terror attacks across the world. So that's possible that that was in response to that. But it's also possible that it was done in a way to embarrass the Trump administration. So leaked intelligence or Pentagon cover-ups, does that sound improbable? Remember, it wasn't long ago that we talked to the father of Michael Strange. His name is Charlie Strange, and Larry Klayman. They were trying to get information about another failed raid by Navy SEAL Team 6.
There were 7 Afghanis that were supposed to go on that mission along with the SEALs and other special ops forces. And they were removed at the last minute. In fact, there's no reference to who they were replaced with on the manifest. And we know that the Taliban was laying in wait for the SEALs and for the other special ops in the Tangine Valley. And you put all of the things together in this matter, and it raises the likelihood that somehow security was breached, that the Taliban knew that these SEALs were coming their way.
So questions remain about this latest raid, and questions remain about the lax security of the Democrats as they mock the idea that we need to vet people coming into this country. That's it for tonight's InfoWars Nightly News. Join us again tomorrow night at 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
In case you haven't heard, Infowars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. Infowars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the Infowars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. Infowars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the Infowars store that are only available for Infowars Prime subscribers. That's Infowars Prime at Infowars.com/app. If you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.